we had Tim Ferriss on the show couple weeks ago. We were talking about the SpaceX IPO, and he made this point. He said Elon is attaching himself to the data center and space story because it's the next big thing, and this is what SpaceX needs to market itself for a successful IPO. And you had a tweet that did pretty well, or a post on X. You said, I won't. It was a meme. Do you want to tell people what the meme was?
I think I was not particularly polite about his his opinion, but I don't remember. Was it? I mean, yeah, I don't. Anyway, yeah.
It was a meme. It was the frog of shame. Okay, it was the frog of
Oh,
shame.
the Frog of Shame. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, I remember now.
So, and look, the frog of shame got more likes than the post, okay, which is the whole point of the frog of shame. So what I want to know is what prompted you to post the frog of shame, and just tell us a little bit about how you're thinking about it.
Yeah, I think that the tweet that had gone before that was me saying something along the lines of to say that SpaceX is doing data centers in space for the story because it's worried about missing its numbers. I think I said was the dumbest thing I'd heard all in quite a long time. Like SpaceX is not worried about missing its numbers. The SpaceX numbers growth story is one of the most impressive corporate revenue growth stories in history. Um, I think Tim said something like they were worried because they had forecast 15.5 billion and they're only going to get 15 billion of revenue, which to me is just like an absurd thing to say, that now they're doing data centers in space because they're worried about $500 million miss on basically zero revenue in Starlink 3 years ago to now half the company's revenue. I mean, it's an incredible growth story of revenue. My view is it's completely opposite. SpaceX has realized that doing data centers in space is the cheapest way to do compute, and they want cash for it, and that's why they're IPOing. And I think Elon himself even confirmed, basically, I mean, maybe you can believe what you want, but my reading is that that's broadly accurate, is that they're trying to get cash to finance building data centers in space because it's pretty capital intensive. Yeah,
Well,
sorry.
now hear me. I take your point. And it's a private company, so forecasts they're hard to know. What the exact forecasts are, and I think one of the points that I took from Tim was that if you do want to be a public company, I mean, you will have to give some guidance or commentary at least to investors, and at least know that you're going to be in that range and not consistently fall short. I mean, is that tough to do in the space category? It feels like, just
It's
because of how burgeoning the space is, I mean, it might be hard to be a public space company in 2026 or even 27.
Maybe, but forecasting 15.5 and getting 15 is the kind of thing that a company that's been public for like 100 years might do. If or even more established companies, if Nvidia or Apple or anybody else were to do that, it wouldn't be like the most crazily outrageous miss of all time. So I mean, they're getting pretty accurate at forecasting the numbers, to be honest, and it's only going to get more accurate because the Starlink revenue stream is like one of the most stable cash, or most predictable cash flow streams in the entire world. I mean, I can't think of a more stable cash flow stream than that.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's only gonna get even more and more stable.
So let me ask you this. You are, and we should remind folks that StarCloud, I mean, you are the first, if not one of the first companies to really get some of these chips out into space. And I saw that you recently put out an announcement that you've been training models in space as well. Um, I think the other part that people might be reacting to from Tim's comments is this idea that Elon Musk has um, he likes to attach himself to bold missions, right? And those missions sometimes can be 3 years, 13 years. I mean, it's really hard to know when that will actually become a commercializable operation. So
Yeah.
AI data centers in space, I mean, what is your timeline on when you think that could be generating consistent revenue for any business, let alone yourself? And what do you say to people who say this is like a 15, 20 year away thing?
Elon's saying 4 to 5 years before it's economical, so before they can be launching Starlink V3s. I think that's probably reasonably accurate. What I would say is, even if you thought this was like a 10, 15-year bet, let's say you believed in 10 years most new data centers were going to be being built in space because of the energy. That is an incredibly good thing to invest in right now, because most new data centers is still like a sort of, close to $1 trillion business per year of revenue. If your bear case is 10 to 15 years, that is still an incredibly good business to invest in.
Right. Let's go to your 2026 roadmap. What does 2026 hold for StarCloud?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, we just launched the first NVIDIA H100 to space. We've just been doing some world firsts. So we were the first to train a model in space, the Nano GPT from Mondo Carpathy. We were the first to run a version of Gemini in space. And then coming up in January, we're going to be the first to do high-powered inference on other satellite data, and in particular, SAR data, synthetic aperture radar. And that's very useful for both commercial and DOW applications. And then we're going to be launching our second spacecraft in October this year. So that's going to have about 100 times the power generation of the first one, a whole bunch of H100s, Blackwell chip from NVIDIA. And that will be the first kind of commercial offering from StarCloud. So very exciting year coming up for us in 2026.
You must dream of going to space yourself, right? I mean, that's got to be
I do.
you think it'll. I mean, it's getting easier. I mean, if you could send a data center, I'm sure you'll get up there at some point.
I hope so. I mean, yeah, I think certainly in my lifetime, I think it's going to be possible. I'm not sure I'd want to be in the first 1,000 people to go, but I definitely want to go.
Why not? I mean, you don't think so?
Maybe, yeah.
If you are telling me that we're going to have data centers in space in the next 10, 15 years, I think you got to be one of the first 1,000. I think you
Oh,
owe
yeah,
it to
no, yeah.
all of the customers out there. Anyway, Philip, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. Hope you have a great holiday season, and we will talk to you again very soon.